Alan, how are you, sir?
Very well, Dermot. Good to talk to you again.
How has your week been, my friend?
It's been great. It's been a great week. A lot of customer meetings and workshops. So we're planning the brave new world.
Nothing like a workshop to plan a brave new world. You've been a busy man. You've been traveling quite a bit, Johannesburg, the rest of the UAE and other locations, speaking at the Salesforce Live events. How have they been going? We've obviously
Yeah,
seen some of the traction down at Johannesburg with the attendance and the session that you ran. How are you getting on with those sessions?
yeah, really good. So we spoke at Salesforce Live, which was great to be back in person again, of course, and we ran a couple of kind of CIO roundtable events in Johannesburg and Cape Town. And just got back from Mulesoft Connect in London, which is our big annual event where there were a lot of great announcements, and we had one of our top customers from South Africa speaking, Standard Bank, so it was great success.
I am sure we'll explore that use case and a couple of more in this conversation, but just a massive thank you for doing this. And let's jump straight into the conversation. So, MuleSoft, what is it? What do you do with MuleSoft? Who are you? Where do we start? Let's start with yourself, Alan. What's your background, first of all?
Sure. So, yeah, my name is Alan. I'm Irish, live just outside Dublin, and I've been in the technology industry, God, for nearly 20 years now. I stumbled across the world of integration and application development about 10 years ago, and fell in love with it. I've always been interested in programming and so on, but fell into this world. And since then, I've been focused working for Salesforce and MuleSoft, really just driving, Salesforce's vision for building platform businesses, engaging customers in new ways. And last year, when we announced we were focusing on South African business and driving the connected customer in South Africa, I was given the opportunity to head up the MuleSoft team. So I jumped at the chance, and I've just been really enjoying it since then.
And what has the MuleSoft team been like since you've joined? Talk to me about the growth of that team, which obviously comes from the growth of MuleSoft within the regions that you're working in. What has that been like?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because MuleSoft was acquired in 2018 by Salesforce, and since then it's been Salesforce's most successful acquisition. We've been growing around 50% year on year. So when we made the purposeful decision to invest in South Africa, what that actually looks like is a growth of our team of about 400% this year. We expect our business will grow 3x probably for the next 3 or 4 years. So really accelerating what we're doing globally right here in Africa and the Middle East as well. So so we've started scaling up our team around having product experts, industry experts, customer success specialists, territory managers like myself. Really, the whole team has just been building out around supporting South Africa and then Africa in general.
It's extremely exciting. It's an exciting time to be in South Africa, and it's an exciting time for a product like MuleSoft due to the fact that it's relevant for every business and every industry. Let's jump straight into the product then, Alan. As someone
Yeah.
who talks about or is perhaps new to MuleSoft, like myself, about a year ago, I saw MuleSoft as an integration platform, but as we worked more and more, getting exposed to the other benefits of MuleSoft from an API management point of view and giving businesses access to additional channels, additional revenue streams is what I meant to say. It's exposed me to that. Can you jump into and I guess describe MuleSoft as someone who's new to the platform?
Yeah, so and it is interesting. You mentioned new channels, and that's absolutely one of the things I think MuleSoft enables. So if you look at the MuleSoft mission statement, and our vision for the world, we're trying to integrate and automate everything while empowering everyone. And the truth is that traditional approaches to trying to connect all of your systems and build this connected customer experience is extremely difficult and challenging. And if you don't get the right combination of technology, architecture, and organizational structure, you can create problems for yourself down the line. So, MuleSoft brings not just a technology platform with it, but also a vision of how to build for the future, how to create the composable enterprise. And if you can create a composable enterprise, well, really, you have, first of all, a technical and speed advantage over your competitors, but you actually have an innovation advantage in your business. So you can create experiences, you can create capabilities, you can create new channels much faster. And so, how we do that is, let's start off with the technology platform. You correctly said, like, it's not just integration, it's APIs. And the important thing to do there is to think about APIs not as ways for two systems to talk to each other, but actually to think about it as a small piece of your business's capability. So if you could imagine a bank that had a payment API or a retailer that had a loyalty API, and how could they use that small building block of business capability inside their company with their partners? How could they use it to create innovations for their customers? And and so, in order for that API to be really, really powerful, it must have the capability to be able to connect to everything. And once you've built all that, then you need to start thinking about, well, actually, how do I scale this? How do I get it to the world? How do I put it inside my app, put it inside my partner's apps? And so MuleSoft handles that full life cycle. And then I think the critical thing to think about on top of all of this is, particularly in South Africa, but really across the globe, resources are in very limited supply. So how can we empower our business teams? How can we empower our admins and our analysts and our project managers to be able to say, hey, where are the great assets that I can use to make this next thing we're doing successful? And how can I consume them easily, right? So we're not relying as heavily on IT to do this. And so that's kind of what MuleSoft's vision, and that's kind of what we bring to the market.
So what I'm hearing there, Alan, is it allows teams to not only be more agile, but it allows them to connect to other businesses and deploy their services in an efficient and scalable way. How do you find teams balancing that rate of innovation with the likes of security, which is always top of mind for IT executives?
Yeah, and this is the paradigm that I think everyone is trying to operate in at the moment. We're being asked to move faster, deliver more with the same or less resources, but we're also being asked to be more secure, more compliant, more governed. And this is a real gap in sensibility in many ways. In the MuleSoft releases a report every year called the State of the Connected Customer. And in the State of the Connected Customer, we show that IT teams this year, on average, are being asked to deliver 30% more projects than they were last year with about the same resources. Yet, only 37% of those same teams were able to deliver last year's projects on time. So, so MuleSoft has been really thinking about this, and recently we actually launched a suite of capabilities, and one of the capabilities in that suite is called API governance. Okay, so this is the ability to govern all of your connectivity across your entire business in a single pane of glass, regardless of whose technology you're using, regardless of where that piece of connectivity lives. But having a single pane of glass to apply a ubiquitous piece of governance, a company-wide security policy like encryption or authentication, whatever it might be, means that you just take that headache away from the IT teams and the developer teams. It allows the security team to focus on building one good policy that they're very happy with, and business teams can sponsor these projects confident that what they're investing their time and money in is secure and reusable and governed.
Is that the strategy then for MuleSoft? Is it around allowing IT teams to be flexible, but give them the assurity that what they're doing is not going to trip them up in the future and leave them exposed to malicious actors? Is that the strategy around MuleSoft, or is it?
I think that's an important component of the strategy. But if you zoom out a little bit, actually, what the strategy is to enable IT to build assets that the business can consume quickly and easily. Okay, and when you're in the business of building an asset, when you're in the business of building something that other people are going to use, you have to put in the guardrails. You have to put in the servicing capability. You have to put in the guidance so that people can consume these assets easily. So, an important part of creating the composable enterprise, an important part of creating reusable assets, is that we build in security, performance, monitoring, reuse, discoverability. So these are all components of a strategy called API-led connectivity.
Alan, you talked about MuleSoft's strategy there, but since the acquisition and the incredible growth that the business is seeing with MuleSoft, what is Salesforce's strategy? Where does MuleSoft fit into the puzzle and the customer 360?
Yeah, and it's a good question actually. And if we take a step back and almost look at you know what has Salesforce been doing over the last 6 7 years, right? And as they build out that customer 360, so the ability to transform sales, service, marketing, commerce, e-commerce, how teams collaborate. Um, as they build out that customer 360, and it's amazing because it puts the customer right at the center of your world. We realize that you know the average large enterprise has over 900 applications in it. Okay, and every customer transaction typically touches around 39 different. So Salesforce, I think, amazing vision from they really needed to have the capability to create the connected experiences that customers wanted to create. So they acquired MuleSoft to really be the engine that powers that connectivity at the back, which allows you to surface up new customer experiences. So what we're starting to see now, Salesforce's strategy of acquiring companies like Slack and Tableau and MuleSoft, is really increasing their importance and their value to their customers. That value is creating contextual, personalized, really amazing experiences for their customers. And so what we're starting to see is a Salesforce strategy that I think we'll start hearing the word hyper automation over the next year or so. And this is the connectivity between um, integrating all of your siloed datas and systems, automating all of your manual workflows with either robotic process automation or word automation, and then connecting everything so that it can be assembled and used at point of experience, whatever way you want to as a customer. So this is going to require the power of the Salesforce platform. It's going to require the analytical capability of Tableau. It's going to need MuleSoft to connect everything together and automate those. Finally, we'll want to surface it in amazing experiences like Slack, which will become a digital HQ and a way to really engage with your business's data for customers. So I think the strategy is just really ramping out that customer 360, but providing everything needed to do it. And that's where MuleSoft critically plays into Salesforce's strategy.
So it sounds to me, Alan, that every business is looking for that customer 360, that single source of truth for their data, and then to use Salesforce as that system of engagement. But the system is only as good as the glue that sticks everything together. And having MuleSoft molded around all of those applications, be it Sales Cloud, be it Service Cloud, or external data sources that our customers might use, their ERP, whatever it might be, MuleSoft is that glue that enhances and brings together that customer 360.
Yeah, that's exactly the way I see it. But there are challenges to achieving this, right? So within any business, we'll find technical debt. We'll find previous investments in other technologies. We'll find a sprawl of APIs and integrations, and typically there's just a lack of resources to address it. Okay, so one of the things that MuleSoft has announced, really just that MuleSoft Connect, is the notion of universal API management. And universal API management is very exciting because what it brings to businesses is the ability to manage any API wherever it lives today. Now, what that actually means for businesses is the pre-made or the pre-done work that they've already invested in can be leveraged on the most modern connectivity platform in the world to create new experiences. So we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater when we want to do new things, which is really nice. But it also allows a whole new world of flexibility. So universal API management is going to allow you to build and deploy APIs no matter where they're running. So you see a lot of companies today, they have multi-cloud strategies across Azure and AWS and Google. We still have a lot of legacy systems, and so the ability to deploy your APIs, those reusable building blocks, wherever business is happening, is critical. And so universal API management empowers all of this and allows you to do it all. And this gives your business a whole new layer of agility and a whole new layer of speed in which they can kind of move forward with. And what I love about this is at the same time it's reducing the overhead on IT. It is helping you adapt to new operating models as a business. So a lot of companies trying to move to a technical term here, microservices, and maybe they're trying to deliver in an agile way. So, universal API management really helps IT teams make that leap and move forward faster.
Universal API management being one of the trends that we're seeing in the integration API space. What else are we seeing, Alan? What are you seeing in the market, but also in the industry?
I think the most exciting thing for me right now is the notion of the citizen integrator. So, I think if we look globally, the amount of integration experts available to work on a job right now is probably 2 to 3 million integration experts globally that could do a job. There are somewhere in the region of 250 million business professionals that could build an integration if they had no code tooling. Okay, so MuleSoft started this process early last year when they announced Composer for Salesforce. So Composer is a low code, actually it's a no code integration tool where you can build simple workflows. So for example, if an important customer created a case in Service Cloud and we wanted to notify everybody in Jira and Slack at the same time, we can create a little workflow very, very simply, and this integration is bulletproof because it's monitored and governed by IT, right? But the business is building this integration, and you can integrate so many things, almost anything. But it's ideal for building simple workflows between Microsoft Teams and Salesforce, or Slack and ServiceNow, whatever it might be. And what this unlocks for IT is a lot of simple repetitive tasks that they typically would have had to do themselves. What it unlocks for business is the ability to just get stuff done quickly. So it's a very much a mutually beneficial capability in the business, because you retain that control, but you unlock the innovation. And so the notion of the citizen integrator is only going to increase and ramp up more. And with the announcement at MuleSoft Connect last week of the go live of MuleSoft RPA, we're taking that to the next level. So companies that have perhaps older legacy systems, perhaps some processes that are still paper based or email submission based, taking the human repetitive task out of those capabilities, turning them into a robotic process automation, and then turning that robotic process automation into an API that can be easily consumed by Salesforce or a website or whatever it might be, is really going to take hyperconnectivity to the next level. So I'm very excited to see the citizen integrator take off, because integration for a long time has been the world of very technical people, and it's been hidden from the average user like you and me.
You're definitely beyond average, and when you get excited about new things, I definitely get excited by them as well. When I talk about Tableau to customers and businesses, I often say, it's the democratization of reporting and data and analytics. But what you're actually talking about here is the democratization of integration to users with the kind of drag and drop, point and click, easy integrations. That's not, well, easy probably not the best word, but easy to do integrations that you or I could pick up within the business. Is that right?
I honestly, with Composer, I think easy is the right word. And look, we see this as a trend. We see this as a trend in Salesforce, right? So Salesforce democratized CRM and access to application development tools with their multi-tenant platform. Tableau have done the same thing in data. Slack are doing the same thing in terms of engagement platforms. And funnily enough, MuleSoft is doing the same thing with integration and API management. And one of the ways in which we do this as well, so MuleSoft is very busy building what we call accelerators. And we build these accelerators specifically for Salesforce, but for all other applications like SAP. And we build them for industry specific use cases like retail and banking and wealth management and healthcare and life sciences. Now, this is a form of democratization, because what we're doing is we're taking the best practices and we're taking the projects that have worked well for us over the last number of years. We're packaging them up in a toolkit of assets that will include patterns, it will include APIs, it will include processes, documentation. And so let's imagine for a second you're a retailer and you say, okay, we want to have a unified customer onboarding capability for a loyalty platform. But we've got 5 different brands, we have 10 different websites, we have several ecosystems. We're going to have to build 27 onboarding journeys here. With MuleSoft, we have an onboarding API built right into the retail accelerator, and you can take that and just build maybe slight differences. Maybe you need that 5% difference for each different brand, but the core of what you're doing is already pre-built to best practices, and it's ready to work with all of your relevant back-end systems like Salesforce and your order management system and your e-commerce sites. So this really allows retailers of all sizes to move very quickly. I love that word democratization, because this is exactly what it does. These pre-made assets and these tools that we bring to a team. It could be a team of 2 guys. It could be a team of 100. They all benefit the same from these pre-made assets, right?
I think we should get democratization tattoos on our arms.
Let's do it.
I'm going to change the tone a bit and go into a bit of a quick fire round, and it's only because you mentioned a couple of use cases there in industries. You mentioned retailers and what they can do. So I'm gonna throw these at you, and you can give me a quick point of view as to how various industries and various companies could leverage MuleSoft. So, an international airline.
Yeah, I mean, and we do have several international airlines that are customers. One of the most interesting things here is there's only around 4 or 5 real global pricing engines when it comes to airline tickets. The difference that the speed in which you can return a price to your customer makes all the difference between them booking on you and booking on your competitive airline, right? And so being able to quickly connect and deliver that pricing information to your customer is potentially a game changer. And that's what we're actually helping several airlines do, is to aggregate all of their potential airline prices and make it available in a performant API that gets delivered to all of the different pricing engines, but most critically to their pricing website, so that when customers request a price, they have it, they can book it easily. And of course that simple online booking process is critical as well. one thing I can tell you is a very large American airline were able to build an integration between their customer service system, which I believe was Salesforce, but multiple customer communication channels that at the time weren't necessarily supported. So we're talking about WhatsApp, Viber, Messenger at the time, WeChat. So lots of different communication channels. And what that meant for the customer was the customer could communicate whatever way they wanted with the airline, and the airline always contextually understood who they were. And so doing things like getting your seats upgraded or making a last minute change was very, very simple for the customer. And it actually brought their customer satisfaction rating up a whole basis point in their net promoter score. So that kind of integration really moves the needle for airlines.
So it's the speed of getting data across and getting it published to the customer from a pricing point of view, and what you mentioned there around the airlines, again comes down to the to speed, right? And getting.
Yeah. And I think in both of those use cases it was two different things that were unlocked. In the customer service use case, it was speed, the ability to say, we have a new channel to communicate on our customers with. Let's do it. Let's consume that API. Let's go. On the pricing side, actually, what's really happening in the back end is these legacy engines like Sabre that are quite difficult to unlock. So what you actually need is a very powerful integration platform that can access any data and any process and instantly convert it into a format that's usable for modern systems. That's quite challenging to do for a lot of businesses. So MuleSoft has the pre-made connectors and the power to do those orchestrations, which will unlock those pricing engines to new experiences.
Gotcha. So I'm picturing this as those pricing engines as a big treasure chest with a wealth of data, and MuleSoft comes in with a big golden key, unlocks it, orchestrates it, and pushes it out to the customer.
And I think what's really critical there as well is once you've unlocked it, once you've put the key in the treasure box, it's always unlocked. So you can always come back and dip in and get more treasure as and when you need it. And you don't have to go through that same, epic journey of exploration every time you want to unlock a little bit of treasure, right? So MuleSoft makes it reusable, it makes it discoverable, and it makes it easy to use the next time and the next time.
Alan, talk to me then about, say, hotel chains. We're seeing some incredible customer stories with the likes of Marriott, with Edwardian and London. Where do hotel chains benefit from MuleSoft?
I mean, I'm struggling to think of an area where they don't benefit, to be honest with you. You know, and hotel chains are a great example because we keep speaking about creating the connected customer experience, and never, like, there's no other industry where the customer is really so embedded in connectivity with the product that you sell. Like, you literally sleep there in the hotel. And so, you know, um, even to the point, like, obviously the loyalty and reward systems platforms, being able to connect those and understand your points, that's important. Doing cool stuff like setting your favorite room temperature and your preferred type of pillow. All this kind of information is often stored in customer engagement platforms like Salesforce. Now, the actual person who goes and sets the temperature for the room, or you know goes and finds their favorite pillow, they may be using a mobile app, they may be using some other experience, and we've got to be able to expose that capability to them very quickly, very easily. Um, but we also have a similar experience with hotels in terms of the lot of legacy back-end systems for rent. And then finally, with hotels, we see a couple of things happening. Number one is we have the need to create a consistent brand experience across geographically very diverse places with entirely different teams, different languages, different cultures and references. But we need to find a way to create personalized experiences for those regions, but have reusable services globally so that we can move fast as a business. And so MuleSoft's architectural approach, this API-led connectivity, allows you to do that. So, for example, how we take a payment globally isn't going to change massively. However, where that payment gets resolved and the types of devices that payment happens on will change. So we see customers building global payment capabilities with local payment experiences. And the old way of doing that would be to have an entire payment experience for each country, each hotel brand. So even to the point of unlocking that capability can save a hotel millions of dollars.
$1 million is what what they say. So, like, if I'm an executive and I'm thinking about international expansion, launching into new regions, I need to be thinking about MuleSoft as an enabler to personalize both the experience within that region, but allow me to deploy APIs, connect to payment gateways, whatever that might be, relevant to that region.
Exactly. I think, and we see this a lot. We have a lot of brands across, financial services, across, retail insurance. They all have, expanded globally with MuleSoft by building out this composable enterprise I spoke about. So, again, what we do as a business tends not to change. What changes some domain specific functionalities. So, how we take a payment, how we store a customer record, and how our product might change slightly, but the core changes. So we have to abstract those from each other so that we are moving at speed. In fact, what we're building, what businesses are building, is what Salesforce have built, is a platform, right? They've built a platform for change and a platform for growth and innovation, right? And so we say, yeah, we're going to Italy next. We're going to Spain after that. We're going to France after that. Each of those countries will have their own individual requirements, but how we do it and what we do as a company and what our company values aren't changing. So we should be able to build a platform on that so our business moves fast.
We're all about moving fast here at Salesforce and helping our customers to do so. Last one then, Alan. One thing that South Africa has is a lot of hotels, and another thing that it has is a lot of mines. Can you give me a
Yeah.
point of view on a mining company, say diamond mining, coal mining, whichever
Yeah.
is your choice?
So we work with a lot of the natural resources companies in Africa already, but let me give you a great example of one of my favorite ones in Australia. So, large Australian mine. They had some very old, complex systems for contractor onboarding. Okay, and the processes for working in a mine, particularly as a contractor, are long and complex. There's a lot of training you need to do, a lot of documentation, a lot of certification. And then we also have the complexity of just people, right? What safety equipment do they need? People changing jobs, what qualifications do they have? And it became a very long and complex process. So they set out to resolve this problem by building a beautiful new contractor portal on Salesforce. And this was great, but they saw an opportunity here. And so what they did was they used MuleSoft to create a contractor onboarding API. Now, this was really clever because project number two for them was a maintenance app. And the maintenance app needed to contractors were qualified for which job. Now, they would have had to build that whole integration into all those back end systems around certifications and training and onboarding had they have not built this contractor onboarding API. The contractor onboarding API was able to tell the maintenance app which contractors are fully trained and qualified to do this job, which contractors have the certifications, and which contractors already have the right equipment or safety equipment or whatever will be. And so what happened was that they were only offering maintenance jobs to contractors that were fully trained and fully certified. And the contractors had a great experience because they were able to see what jobs were available to them and bid on them very quickly. It's almost like the Uber of mining. Um, Now, this sounds like a simple use case, but then you have to bear in mind we're talking about mines here. And in mines, we separate the technology of the outside world, how we run the business, how we do our analytics, how we do our customer engagement. We keep that entirely separate from the technology in the mine, the connected mine, the IoT devices, the equipment, and so on. And we have to find a way to surface all of that information back into the business so that we know, hey, something needs maintenance. Hey, we need a contractor to do a job. Hey, we need safety equipment. And so actually exposing all that legacy information, creating new customer experiences, so new contractor experiences, and then having it all reusable so we can do project after project after project is a huge advantage to mines, and it allows them to increase their efficiency and their output and reduce their operating costs. And that's where the real gold is in mining. So that kind of experience is really valuable. And it's a real combination of Salesforce's engagement platform, MuleSoft's connectivity platform, and eventually what we get is an empowered customer.
I don't know if you meant to say that's where the gold is in mining, but that is absolutely exceptional. Alan,
I
where
love
is
fun.
where is MuleSoft going with all of this? What does the future look like for MuleSoft?
Yeah. So I said I think we're going to start hearing the word hyperconnectivity more and more, and I think that's the future of MuleSoft as well. I think that's where we're going. I think the notion of having teams of people to engineer a business process across multiple systems, multiple geographies, multiple teams, and then have these processes become brittle or bottlenecks to innovation is what we're trying to solve for. And so where MuleSoft is going is you'll see the capability, I think, over the next few years where, quickly within Salesforce or within Slack, you will have the ability to, even as a business analyst, is to build powerful end-to-end workflows that step right outside of the Salesforce world into your core systems, into your physical teams, and allow you to build that and execute on it without very much IT skills at all. The other side of that hyper connectivity coin is you're going to see more and more IT teams building the composable enterprise. When we listen to all of the top business analysts out there, so you know, I'm not going to mention their names, but you'll see their magic quadrants and their wave graphs and so on. And they say that the future of businesses, the future of companies that are going to win the digital transformation battle is the composable enterprise. So we're going to see IT teams getting faster at building reusable assets. And really what's happening is every company is becoming a technology company. And the technology companies that win are the platform companies. MuleSoft, Salesforce, AWS, we're all platform companies. And businesses are going to be able to do that with this new hyper automation capability that MuleSoft is bringing as part of Salesforce.
It's incredibly exciting, and I guess to bring it back to a South African context, we've talked about international airlines, we've talked about mining companies in Australia. What South African companies are doing things right from an integration API perspective?
One of my favorite stories, and I use it when I meet so many customers, is Liberty Insurance. So Liberty are one of my favorite customers. They're building amazing things there, and really what they did and what they used MuleSoft for was to unlock the legacy backend, right? So they had multiple claims and policy administration systems, and every time they wanted to do something new for a customer experience, it was quite complex. So, for example, simply notifying a customer over WhatsApp about a claim decision was a very complex kind of thing to do. So really what they were able to do was they used MuleSoft to create this abstraction layer between the complex legacy backend systems and their fast moving systems at the front end. So their claims experience for their customer, their servicing capability on Salesforce, their communication capabilities on WhatsApp, and so on. And what that really led to, and here's the business benefit. Liberty became 60% faster at releasing products to market. Okay. Now, hundreds of thousands of man hours saved in integration time. It's a big cost saving. That's important. And thousands of claims processed way faster, better customer experience. That's important. Okay. But what I really loved is as a business, they have a new layer of agility. When the business comes to them and say, hey, we want to roll out a new marketing platform, or hey, we want to start doing a capability here, they're now able to say, yeah, no problem. Here's the data. It's available in this composable building block. Just consume it. Everything you need is there. We'll manage security and governance. That kind of speed is invaluable in a business, and I love that they do it. And so you can go to mulesoft.com and actually read all about it. It's in our customer stories section, I believe.
I will most certainly take a look, although I would say myself I've read it two or three times, maybe more. Alan, we've most obviously we focused on MuleSoft quite a bit here. To top things off, where does MuleSoft fit into the integration, middleware, API management landscape? And if I'm a CIO or an IT executive and I'm kind of weighing up a couple of options, where does MuleSoft fit into things?
So, I mean, first of all, from a marketing positioning point of view, MuleSoft plays in a few areas. So, the world of enterprise integration, we're a leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. The world of iPaaS, integration platforms as a service, we're a leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. The world of full lifecycle API management, we're a leader. And we've just entered robotic process automation as a niche player. It's a new product for us. But here's the difference. We're the only platform in the world that provides all of these capabilities in one product, in one platform. Everyone else stitches them together with a multiple group of products and services and acquisitions they made over the years. And so, when I'm talking to CIOs and they're trying to figure out, oh, where do I stick MuleSoft? How do I think about it? You can think about us in any of those four sections, but we're actually all four in one platform. Okay, we're the market leader, we're the largest in terms of market share, and we're the fastest growing. So I like to say, in the world of integration, we're very much a big boy. A lot of people have never heard of the brand, but in the world of integration, people do know the brand because we've been there for, I think, over 7 years as a leader. And so that's kind of where we fit. The way I would describe it is, look, we are the world's number one connectivity and automation platform for business.
Alan, we'd love to bring this conversation to not only just me and you, but to other IT executives and CIOs, CTOs as well. We were having a chat there the other day and we said, what would be absolutely fantastic is to actually run a CIO roundtable. We do it online and we bring in 10, 15 people, CIOs, to have this conversation and run through an agenda of some of the areas that we talked about today, trends from an integration perspective, how they're leveraging APIs, what they're thinking about in terms of integration. Do you perhaps want to touch on that roundtable and what we can expect from a future event coming up in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it's a great idea because every time we have these conversations with customer face to face, and we can get 2 or 3 or 10 customers around the table, and we start discussing things like, how do we meet evolving customer expectations? How do we improve hybrid work? How can we adapt to new operating models? And how can we truly enable digital transformation? It just opens up lots of great conversations, and it gives us the opportunity to say, oh, well, look, here's how Standard Bank are trying to solve for that, or here's how Pfizer are working on that, or here's how Coca-Cola have addressed that. And we bring our own CIO experts to the table as well, and we discuss some ideas. And then it also gives us an opportunity, particularly I think with the CIOs, is to discuss very functional problems that we're all trying to solve for today. Like, how do we adopt, if you're in telecommunications, how do we adopt TM form standards? Or if you're in banking, how can we take advantage of buy-in standard APIs and stuff like that? And we can discuss all those as well. But I think what's important is that, at the end of the day, Salesforce and MuleSoft really just unlock business innovation. We need to have those business-based discussions around the local challenges we see in South Africa, and help come up with strategies. And these roundtable conversations are invaluable for that, because it's education, but it's also strategizing. It's also planning.
It's most certainly something my customers are always asking is, what are other executives, what are other CIOs doing on Salesforce, and what are they thinking about? And these roundtables are a fantastic way to build their network, but also expose them to the other capabilities that they're probably not thinking about on the platform. So definitely keep an eye out for that coming up in the future. Alan, look, absolute pleasure to chat today. Really enjoyed the conversation. I get extremely excited about all things MuleSoft, and when you chat fluidly about the use cases in mining and airlines, it's mind blowing. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, and it is exciting, and it's an exciting time in South Africa, because we're right at I think, the pinnacle of companies adopting these digital transformation strategies. And we can really help with it. So it's an exciting time.
Cool. Cheers, Alan.